Welcome back. You're with us on Corporate Trader. I'm putting the spotlight on the telecom space right now. So two developments. One, of course, the market's still looking at the impact of what the Supreme Court had to say on the AGR curative petition, which it dismissed, didn't offer any relief to those who had filed it, including Vodafone Idea and, of course, Airtel. The second development is the telecom data that came in for the month of July. And a lot of the major telecom operators like Reliance Jio, Bharti Airtel and Vodafone Idea, they've all seen a decline in their customer base. BSNL has, however, emerged victorious because it's had a good month gone by. That's the month of July. To talk about both of these important trends, we have with us Sanjay Kapoor, ex-CEO of Airtel and, of course, an industry veteran. Mr. Kapoor, great to have you on. Thanks for joining in, sir. Good morning. We actually wanted to get you on the AGR news as well, but I think you were busy. So now we have more to discuss with the data also coming through. Let's take the data first, and that's been the big point of discussion and debate, right? That yes, we've had the first hint of a tariff hike come through, but is it being well digested by the market, or is it leading to down trading, disconnections, and basically buying of lower packs, lower data packs by the end consumer? What is your sense? Can the industry push forward more tariff hikes?
First and foremost, a good morning to all of you and all the viewers. My own personal belief is that the subscriber numbers reveal very little of what happens on the ground, and they can be misleading. For me, who's been a part of the industry for many years, and I continue to be one, it is the revenue market share and the profit market share that matters to any operator who's jostling for market share or for supremacy in any market. When you talk about a reduction in subscribers because the prices were corrected upwards, then it could be a reaction to those prices for duality of SIMs before unique customers begin to start making moves from one operator to another operator. So I don't know whether this is just that duality and multiplicity of SIM that has sombered a bit and died down a bit, which actually doesn't matter. As long as for the players who are the leaders in the market, it was unit elastic, which means that despite the subscribers coming down, if their overall revenues grew with the advent of price hike, then I think it was a brilliant move and it should continue. To answer your second question, can the market digest more? Well, we are in a very different era. We are not in an era where telecom was only used for voice or some minimalistic data. It's a service based on which we live our lives, from entertainment to education to investments and what have you. There's lots of things that we end up doing on these devices and with this connectivity through the day, through the weeks, through the months. And for us to be coughing up a little more money, I think is absolutely done, especially if we are looking at quality of service to be internationally benchmarked. Where we are today and where we have to go with the amount of data that gets consumed on mobile and fixed devices, I think we have a lot more to invest in the customer experience. Right. And that can only come if the customers pay for it. I don't expect the governments to be subsidizing or the operators to be subsidizing it from their profitability. If you look at their ROIs, they are amongst the least in the world. They're still single digits, right? So I think there is more room for price hikes, and there should be more price hikes if quality of service has to be sustained.
Absolutely, Mr. Kapoor, thanks for joining us. This question of price increase has also been linked to, over the last couple of years, the health and shape and form in which Vodafone Idea will be around. Now, of course, what is your sense? Because that's, I think, the burning question in the minds of many investors, viewers who are watching this program. After the AGR, the curative petition was declined, what shape and form will Idea be around in? What kind of competition will it offer? And the other question is, how will it be in a position? Are we essentially looking at a very, very weak player? Will it go on lingering for many years? Can something happen here? And what does it mean for Indus Tower as well, which is the tower operator? Go on, sir.
So this is like a Trojan horse question. You have many questions rolled in. Let me first give you a little bit of glimpse of the global scenario. And if you look at any operator, any country across the globe, bulk of the markets had standardized to a oligopoly. And that was the structure that prevailed for last many years, um, rather a decade or so. But if you look at the technology and the increase in the investment cycles, the third and the fourth operator are finding it tough in any part of the world. It is not unique to India, in any part of the world. And in India, with where we are and the sort of investments that are required to stay competitive, and the edge that the number one and the number two players have gained over the last 5, 6 years in the market, and they don't seem to be relenting any space to anybody. I think even if India remains a duopoly, and even if India remains an oligopoly, I think it'll be an oligopoly where the top two players will have 80% market share, and the other two players will really have to strive to fight amongst themselves to say, how do we be in that 20-25% market share space? Now, coming to the AGR bit, I think AGR is a very small thing in the whole schematic. Of course, it matters more to VIL than to Airtel, but it's smaller thing in the schematic, because if you really see the amount of investments that VIL is saying they want to spend on the network alone over the next 3 years, we are still not sure where's that money going to come from, right? And if that money comes and they continue to pay their vendors through equity, will vendors be satisfied with that? Because the equity has been going down, the equity value has been going down. So I guess given the strength of the top two players, given that world over, the third and the fourth player find it very difficult because of smaller balance sheets, and given the fact that this game requires tons of monies to stay contemporary and to contribute to faster capital cycles, I think India, the top two players will have a very large market share, and the balance two players will really have to struggle for a very small market share. And I don't see them relenting any space.
Mr. Kapoor, 30 seconds, not 30 seconds, but maybe in under a minute, if you can outline your thoughts on Indus Tower as well.
Well, the business for towers is all around multiple tenancies. And given the fact that there are multiple tower companies in the country, and Indus Tower is one of the largest one, it very clearly is that, basically there are three players who will give them tenancies going forward. Will they be able to jack the prices up to keep their profitability going? I'm not too sure. But of course, tower companies do well when there's a healthy oligopoly where all four players really compete in the marketplace and have the investment capabilities. When there are only two players in the market, then obviously the tower company loses a little bit of sheen because the tenancies will remain under pressure.
All right, so great perspective. Thank you for joining in, and we look forward to more conversations as we go down the line. Thanks very much for joining us today. Well, that's a perspective coming through on the telecom space, where some of the stocks are bouncing back quite nicely.